up to 0%. So what they do is they actually cap the top part. What you see is your car is 0 to 100%. But what you actually, the car BMS actually program is they actually put a buffer of invincible 10% on the top of 10% at the bottom, so that you do not drain it really at 0%. If your battery has been shown 0 in the dashboard, in actual, they still maybe have about 5 to 10% of battery capacity to protect the lifespan of the battery. That is why the usable battery is different from the battery capacity. On the charging side, you also can see that from the CCS, if you were to use a 175 kilowatt of DC charger and a 350 kilowatt DC charger, the time to charge the car is only 2 minutes difference, but the price that you need to pay for a 350 kilowatt of DC charger is double of 175. So in terms of future-proof, 350 is future-proof, but 175 is more cost-effective in terms of the current usage. This is the charging curve from it. You can also see from here, a typical 300 kilowatt charger, you can only reach the max at the early state of charge of the battery. When the battery is low at about 10 to 20% or 30%, you can actually charge it very fast. But after the battery is reached 30% or 40%, you can see that the power keeps dropping already compared to what if you use another type of charger. When it actually reaches to about 80%, the tapering is even more significant. One of it is we try not to, it's like when you try to dock a big ship to a harbor, you cannot, when you are like 10 kilo or 5 kilometers away from the harbor, you start stopping your engine and let it come slowly to the harbor, because the momentum of current that you are pushing into the battery will spoil the architecture if you do not control it. That is why during the last 20%, normally we do not charge up to 100%. It will take longer time to charge because the charging rate will be very slow to prevent the charging from to prevent the battery from overheating or from having any issue later on. Some of the projects that we are embarking now, we are putting our own DC fast charger along the highway. Like I mentioned, there are few concerns of people if they want to buy electric vehicle, where do they charge their car? So now we are actually pushing it along the highway where we locate it at a strategic location for people to stop by 15 to 20 minutes to charge their car before they head down to Johor Bahru or Penang. This is a typical look of how the DC charger looks like. Then the bottom there is actually a Porsche Taycan, which they tested it using the DC charger. Like I mentioned earlier, we try to green off the energy generation by having solar panel installed above the on top of the roof of the petrol stations, which has a big roof for us to actually put it. This one is actually in northbound side. Skudai R&R southbound. This one is in Bukit Gantang. This is the DC charger, 175 kilowatt DC charger, which I mentioned, has a separated power cabinet and also a DC charge post. So the two things are separated. For this one, for the 50 kilowatt, the power cabinet, the DC power cabinet, and also the charge post are actually combined. I think that is all from my side. Okay, another project that which I think it's also quite interesting. We have actually completed another project for United Nations previously. Why United Nations wanted to do this project? They have two things that they wanted to do. One is they wanted to make sure that the charging comes from green energy. So they are putting solar panel to actually store into a 50 kilowatt hour of lithium ion batteries. It's actually an off-grid system where the batteries is actually used to power up the DC charger. Then we also have the issues of second life batteries. Batteries, after they reach 80 to 70% of state of health, what you're going to do with it? Maybe your batteries, if you reach to 100 kilometers, might not be feasible for you to use the electric car, but you can actually use the battery for other stuff like energy storage. What the lab is currently doing now. We actually refurbish the battery to actually use for energy storage, for it to actually store energy from the solar PV system. from the Istana Negara. And the latest project that we are currently embarking on is actually to help Shell and Porsche to actually install a 180 kilowatt charger along the highway. Then, of course, I think I don't want to go into details. I think if you go into the industry, you will need to learn up about the testing and commissioning. What are the standards? What are the things that you need to do? In our company, we have 5 electric vehicle cars for us to do testing and also for us to what. So that's about our what I can share among the graduates and students. Thank you.
Can I ask the first question?
Yes, Encik Fuad.
Yeah, Mr. Lee, how you pay for the charging? Do you pay by credit card or you pay by, or is it free?
No, I think I haven't gone into that because that one is more commercial. So maybe I can just briefly explain. We built our own app called the Jom Charge app. Jom Charge app, the charger actually has a connectivity to our platform or backend where we actually use the app to actually pay for the charging of the car. Then we also have an option where we can actually use touch and go to pay. So for some condominiums, we offer a touch and go system like this one so that the user can actually tap on the touch and go like this, tap on the touch and go, then they actually pay for it. In Malaysia, as you know, that we are not allowed to sell electricity unless we apply a license to sell electricity. So selling electricity is possible if you apply for it. But even though we apply for the license to sell electricity, electricity is a regulated market. You cannot sell above the regulated rate. Say, for example, if your charger is buying at low voltage at tariff B, it's 50.9 cents. You can only sell at 50.9 cents. You cannot sell above the rate. So how are you going to make a profit to cover the infra and also the charger? So that is another thing that we do where we actually charge based on time instead of kilowatt hour.
So normally how much